You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
It only takes one step, twist, or crunch to know something doesn't feel right. Essentia Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team gets you back to doing what you love with commitment, resilience, intention. We're here to keep you moving forward. Visit essentiahealth.org to learn more about orthopedics and sports medicine, like nowhere else.
Hello and welcome to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm your host, Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat reporter at the Duluth News Tribune.
And I'm Zach Schneider, the television voice of UMD Hockey on My 9 Sports.
This week on the podcast, in our brand new location, we've left behind the conference room. Sorry to anyone that liked the flickering fluorescent lights in the background of our podcast. We're in a new space, so if it sounds a little different, that might be why. Anyways, joining us on the podcast this week he's a first-time guest, even though he's been around for 5 years.
Way too long.
Because I'm an awful person, apparently, and never brought him on the podcast. Or he shot us down. Maybe he was too popular to come on until this year. It is the captain of the Bulldogs and also second-year captain now of the Bulldogs Movember campaign. Welcome to the podcast, Luke Loheit.
Thank you. Glad to be the first participant here at the new spot.
So that's why we waited
forever
to bring you on. We were too embarrassed to bring you to the old conference room studio location that we had for all those years. So November, hockey community, we like to call this month Movember. It's a month dedicated to raising awareness and funds for men's physical and mental health. It's a campaign that the men's hockey community has really rallied around, and that includes the Bulldogs. Movember was really important to Ben Pat. I feel like he really took it to another level when he was here with the Bulldogs, and this month really took on extra significance a couple of years ago when Zach Stejskal went public with his fight with testicular cancer. Luke, the program's raised quite a bit of money over the years for the Movember Foundation, which helps educate people about testicular cancer, prostate cancer, and men's health. Why does Movember continue to be important to you guys in this locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's important overall. Like, men's health is something that I think has gained a lot more traction throughout the years, but it's something that's so important for all of us, especially young men trying to develop good morals and trying to figure out who they are as people. I think all of us on a daily basis go through struggles, whether it be with it can range from anywhere slight depression to testicular cancer. So I think there's a big range, and obviously the Movember campaign the platform that we use, they raise awareness for just mental health in general, but also prostate cancer, testicular cancer, like you said. So yeah, it's a wide range, but I think it means a lot to us just because we know how big of a deal it is on a daily basis for all of us, because I think we all go through stuff, whether we know it or not, and I think to actually talk about it and think about it and raise awareness for it is super important. So
what prompted you a year ago to take this over, besides your keen ability to grow a mustache? You can't be captain of the Movember campaign unless you can grow a good mustache, which Ben Pat was, I believe he's in the NCHC Movember Hall of Fame for mustaches.
I was going to say, I don't think Tanner would have been able to do it just solely off his inability to grow any facial hair. But no, yeah, like I said, it's important to just raise awareness, and hits close home to me, for me and with Stezzy and obviously Franny. It's a little differently, but Franny too, that we've guys that in our lives that go through stuff like that. So it's important for me to raise awareness, and obviously it's fun growing a stash and seeing other guys grow funny stashes and take on the life of Movember. But yeah, it's just something that I thought was a great idea that Patter started, and hopefully guys next year can keep it going.
I remember Movember, like originally the big thing of it was focused a lot on prostate and testicular cancer. Yeah. And you've already talked about it. They've added this men's health component. Yep. And I actually thought it was interesting on their website now, like that's the first thing they talk about is men's health and suicide prevention. Like my generation, I'm in my late 30s. When we were younger, we didn't talk much about mental health. But your generation, it seems to be a lot different. Your former classmate, Gabby Hughes, I mean, everything she's done with Sophie's squad is amazing, bringing mental health to the forefront of athletes. Has mental health always been something that you've talked about, that's been talked about, you and teammates and friends and family growing up, or is it something that's you feel the stigma's kind of changed?
Yeah, I think it's something personally I think I've talked a lot about. I think my parents, that was a big thing with my parents. I think my dad really instilled that in me, that to, talk about things rather than stuff it in. And I think there's times that, I'd find myself as a younger kid or teenager and I'd stuff things in, and then next thing you know, it's coming out at school or it's coming out on the rink, and it usually was a negative result. But yeah, I think just as a kid, I think I was always taught to talk about things, bring awareness to things like this, like mental health. And like I said, I think we can all relate to a certain sense, whether we know it or not. But it's super important to just to voice these things and to bring awareness to all different types of problems, whether it be, obviously, not all of us are going through having cancer, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, but we're all going through our own battles in each and every day in our own heads and in our own lives, which I think it's good to talk about those things, whether you're talking about it with your teammates, your family, your girlfriend, your whoever it may be. Like I said, it's just good to talk about those things, and I've been doing that for a while. And I give the credit to my parents for that one. So
not every guy at your stage in life, even in your generation, like Matt was talking about, probably has had that type of upbringing where it's been super openly talked about. But in your 5 years here at UMD, has it gotten more and more prevalent where guys are coming in and understanding that's part of the culture in this program, that we're going to talk about things, we're going to have resources, versus maybe when you were a freshman?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's something that, as a leader on the team and as just a guy for being here for 5 years, I think I've tried to really create an open environment for guys, for younger guys, for older guys too, just to know that I'm always there for guys to come to and talk about stuff if they need me or need anything, if they feel like they're down in the dumps, if they're going through a rough day or rough week. That's just the fact to have someone there to talk to and voice it. And I'm usually pretty good at picking out, if I can see guys they're having a rough day, I'm usually pretty good at going over them and saying like, hey, you need to talk, you need, like, what's going on? And I think that's super important, not only at the rink, but just in daily life. So yeah, I think throughout my years, I've been trying to focus on that and just have that be a part of my leadership skills too, right? So I think guys know that they can come to me with anything, and that means a lot to me. And I think I want to pass that on to other guys and make sure that they continue to, bring that to guys that come through here in the next few years, and obviously pass that on our culture.
Luke Loheit, the therapist, I guess, put that hat on in your captaincy role as well. But I mean, for guys like an Aaron Pionk or some of the other freshmen that are coming in and are much younger than you at this point, guys that don't play a full year at junior, or guys that aren't here for 5 years like yourself, there's an age gap there. So how much different, I guess, is it sitting here as one of the older guys on the team and trying to connect to some of your younger teammates when you're talking about issues where life, it as well as Matt and I do, life changes a lot in college, whether you are there for 4 years or 5 years.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a gap for sure, just as far as experiences, knowledge, but like even last year and this year too, but like last year really connected with Spice, Cole Spicer, and he's been one of my best friends, and obviously Aaron and Fisher and Anthony and all those guys that are coming in this year. I try to actually emphasize more on connecting with those guys, because I think it's so important. Obviously it makes me feel a little younger too, even though I'm only 23, turned 24, but no, it helps. I think it's important to connect with those younger generations. It's important to, obviously, the guys in your age group, in your class, that you've gone through certain experiences with them, what they've gone through, you've been alongside with them. And even with guys like Teese and guys like Basti and Connor, like I put more emphasis on them, connecting with them, because obviously they hadn't been here for the past however many years. So I think it's important to connect with new guys and get an understanding for how they deal with stuff on a daily basis, what kind of personalities they have, if they're talkers, if they're not, that kind of deal. So like I said, I try to, bring it out of guys and force it out of guys if I can tell that they're off. But that definitely is. There's definitely a difference, but at the same time, we're all the same. We all go through stuff. We all have our challenges in life, like I've said. But I definitely put more emphasis on, I'd say, the new guys and the younger guys to make sure they feel like they can talk to me and talk to anyone about anything.
Luke, you mentioned you've taken on that role, reaching out to younger guys and even newer guys transferring in. Was there anyone that did that for you when you first came in? That would have been the 2019-20 season, yep. I believe. Yeah, yep. Way back then. A pressure-packed year for a freshman to step onto a hockey team that did back-to-back defending champs. Was there anyone that kind of stepped up and reached out to you and maybe someone that set you on this path that you thought, okay, they did that for me, I need to do that for the team now? Yeah,
for sure. I think one guy, or two guys in particular, I think Jade Miller and Ben Pat. Obviously, we talked about Patter a little bit and his role in the Movember campaign. But, yeah, Jader and I were roommates on the road, and he had gone through a lot of different stuff here, too. I think he was in kind of the same positions that I ended up in my following years. Fourth line role, kind of penalty kill guy, and brought a lot of energy, lots of talk. So I think he helped me out with just kind of persevering through that and just trusting my skills. I think on the hockey side, he helped me out a lot, but just personality-wise too, I think he was very similar to me. So that was always fun hanging out with him and being able to talk to him about stuff. And Patter too, I think we had a lot of really good conversations throughout the year or throughout the years that we were here together. And he was always open to talk, and he was very honest and a guy that I went to and that I could trust with, anything. And, so I think those guys really stood out among the older guys when I was here my first few years. And that definitely motivated me to kind of be one of those guys for younger guys now. So, yeah, those guys were great, and I appreciate all they did for me. And I still talk to them, still hang out with them, and I still go to them. Patter I see every now and then, and we still have long conversations that end with me and him talking for 30, 45 minutes about how stuff's going and how life is going. And same with Jade. I just saw him at Adam's visitation, so we had a good conversation. And but yeah, those are guys that I just knew you could always lean on, and I definitely wanted to emulate them once they were gone.
You've talked about looking out for your teammates and such, but how do you look out for yourself, especially in this role as captain? A lot of weight can get put on your shoulders. Yeah. You has to come and talk after games to me. Way too much probably after tough games. I go to guys like you and Quinny and Connor and that, and it's part of the job. I told Luke the story the other day of Carson Kuhlman asking me in 17-18 early on there if he could get called up after the next win because his mom was tired of seeing him frown on camera. The start of 17-18 was rough for that team. Obviously things ended pretty well, but as captain, how do you manage that adversity and take care of your own mental health?
I think it's definitely hard. I think last year it helped me prepare for this year a little bit, but I think wearing the C, I think definitely takes on a life of its own. I think there's a lot of pressure that can be put on you, and I like to say that I deal good with pressure, and I think everyone likes to say that, but at the same time, I think some guys and many people can, they think about it, they're in their head a little bit about certain things, but no, I think like I said, there's lots of pressure that comes with it, but I think making sure that I'm using my resources and I'm talking to other guys too about it, like I can be a resource for guys, but I also need my outlets too, which are my parents, my girlfriend, my friends, whatever that may be. I think using my resources too, because I need to practice that. I need to practice that communication skills, and that's something that I still work on too. I'm not the best at that. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm always open and honest with everyone. Like I definitely go home at night and on some weekends that we're not doing so well, and I think about stuff, and I sit there and wonder if it's gonna end up well, if we're gonna turn the corner or whatever. But I think the next day I kind of wake up and say, okay, I need to get this out. I need to get this out of my head. I need to voice it, and that goes back to this whole Movember thing. I think it's so important that obviously I'm preaching it and telling guys to practice it, but I need to practice it too. So
there's a lot of pressure on the entire team, whether you're part of the leadership group officially or not, but, the pressure to perform when you enter the UMD hockey program is no secret to you when you decide to come here and you're going through the recruitment process. And Matt and I and others will talk to you a lot throughout the season about the pressures of being a hockey player. And personal lives are personal for a reason. Sometimes they become more public in the case of like a Zach Stayskull or a Will Francis, but I don't think you want Matt and I as the captain of the team. I don't think you want people like us to paint the players as victims in this regard. But how much do you wish that people would take a step back and realize that some of these, that all you guys are collegiate student athletes, and some of you are going through whether it be, as recently as the death of Adam Johnson, a fight with your girlfriend, stuff with your family, stuff with school. How much do you wish people would just consider that when they consider everything that you guys are doing on the ice?
Yeah, I think it's something that I think a lot of people fail to think about nowadays. I think also with social media, it's just like people can hide behind screens and say whatever they want now. So I think it's, I do wish people could kind of see that side of us. And I think doing stuff like this and being open and honest to some extent, obviously don't want to be, everyone's going to, not expose themselves or expose their personal life because like you said, it's their personal life. So, but yeah, I think everyone has their personal life. Everyone has their personal stuff going on. So we're not going to sit here and ask people to feel bad for us or, obviously take pressure off in the sense. Obviously, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and I think just them knowing that is enough. So I think if people can know that we have high expectations for ourselves and high expectations for, us in life in general, I think as long as people know that, like none of us are sitting here just going through the motions. Like I think, like you said, we came to Duluth for a reason. We came to win. So that's why I've been here for 4.5 years, almost 5, and I want to continue that through this year. And we're not sitting here. Obviously, the past few weeks have been tough, but I think, like I said, we're not sitting here just going through the motions. Like we want to win, and obviously there's, like you said, there's other stuff in life that goes on, but I think that bodes for anyone in any type of job. So yeah, I think pressure is pressure, and it's how you deal with it. Everyone deals with it differently, but like I said, our expectations are high, and that will never change. So.
And that's always good to have high expectations from a hockey perspective, but it does lead to stretches like the one that you're in right now as we're talking with, series against Minnesota and North Dakota where you mentioned social media, if some of these younger guys want to go find the bad stuff, it's out there, right? And so do you is that part of the conversation when guys get here to keep focused on what's going on in the room, what's going on with them and with the team versus some of the outside noise that you can hear from a community that obviously cares about this team and wants it to see it be a successful, but sometimes I think Matt and I would be the first to say that doesn't come off necessarily from a super positive way from a fan base that is clearly passionate about the Bulldogs.
Yeah, and I think like you said, like the fan base is so passionate, which we love that, and we get that, in times like this when times are tough and we're not doing so well or whatever, like we understand that there's gonna be frustration. Like I'd be the same way, and I totally get that. But like you said, we try to keep it our focus in our locker room, in the rink each day. And I think, I've struggled with that in years past. And I think some guys do struggle with it. I mean, with your phone, you can, like you said, you can find anything on there, anything bad. And it just, you can go on Twitter in a matter of minutes, something's coming up. So, I think the importance of staying away from that and that's also just a temptation that you have to keep yourself away from. I think that's something that I've grown in a little bit. I think as a leader too, I think just focusing on, like I said, just our room, our guys, and what we're doing on a daily basis is what we're going to continue to focus on no matter what. And I think that bodes for, any hockey player, any person on a team, especially in high pressure environments, which I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. We all want to be here. Like I said, we want to be in a place that has high expectations, but like I said, it's good that the fans expect more and that they put pressure on us a bit, but they need to know that, we're not going to stop trying, and on a daily basis, we're just going to focus on ourselves, and we're going to continue to try and put out for them too.
Luke, you mentioned it's been a rough couple of weeks, not just the results, but Adam Johnson's death. Yeah. I think was tough on everyone that knew Adam, and even the smallest ways. I'm wondering how that impacted the team and the players in the locker room. Some of the guys there knew Adam. A few were close to him growing up. Some didn't. How do you feel that impacted the team, and how did you guys handle that the last few weeks?
It was hard, honestly. It was, I think, obviously, like you said, guys like Aaron and guys like Goder, they had different types of relationships with them outside of hockey, and very personal relationships that, I can't even imagine going through. And obviously we've been thinking about their families, and I'm so glad that we went to that visitation, and we all went and supported them, and we're there for obviously Aaron and his family and Goder, and obviously the Johnsons too. So I thought that was super important that we showed up there, and yeah, I think it was tough for me right away. I think the first week was really tough. I told my parents that, I was thinking about it a lot, and I was internalizing it a little bit too much. And like I said in the weeks we talked about, do you think about it? Like, I think everyone thinks about it. And you go out there, and the first couple weeks or first couple days, whatever it might be different for everyone. You're thinking about it. It's something that is super scary. There's no doubt about that. But I think the coolest thing that came from it was, and I talked to Sandy about this, was just when we went to that visitation, we saw guys like Jade Miller, like Alex Iafallo, Neil Pionk, Riley Tufte, the list goes on and on. They came back because they love their family here. And obviously we talked about that we lost a family member, and it was really hard. But I think just the support of the community here was so cool to see. And I think the guys really picked up on that. And I think obviously we had a rough couple weeks after that hockey-wise, but I think just the support overall was super cool to see for me. And I think it's something that I really want to make sure that everyone else saw too, especially the younger guys, and just see how tight-knit this community is. And yeah, I think that was super cool to see and was really important.
All right, that's enough deep talk. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to critique some mustaches.
Perfect.
And I'm the last one who should be critiquing mustaches, but I'm going to do it. You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
Greetings from Northlandia, a place to bring your curiosity, because here you will find curiosities. Whether it's a look inside the Northern Rail Train Car Inn, or an introduction to Duluth's musical roboticist, Robot Rickshaw, we celebrate the region's distinctive people, places, and history. Each week, I'm joined by my fellow reporters who share the unique and fascinating stories that they discover while exploring the Northland. You can find new episodes of the Northlandia podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us along this journey and discover the extraordinary stories that you just might miss if you're not in the right place at the right time, ready to step off the beaten path with no rush to return, here in Northlandia.
Hi, I'm Maria Lockwood, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Explore Superior and Douglas County history with me on Archive Dive, a monthly podcast available at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. They're proud to be the team physicians for the UMD Bulldogs and provide sports medicine care to more than 25,000 student athletes in the community to ensure they can compete at the highest level while protecting their long-term health and athletic futures. Thanks to Essentia Health for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. I'm Matt Wellens, along with my co-host Zach Schneider, and our guest this week, Luke Loheit. As promised, we're going to critique some mustaches. Luke, you're not just an experienced hockey player. In your 5th season of the NCAA and NCHC, you're blessed with the genes that allowed you to grow facial hair, unlike me and unlike a few of your teammates. Let's start off. What are your Movember tips and tricks? What's the advice? We talked about you've been helping the younger guys. What's the advice you've passed down, or what do you pass down to maybe some aspiring high school players that want to get involved in the month, or future playoff beards?
Just let it go. Don't think, just let it go. Yeah, there's not much to it. Obviously, you're blessed with some genes. I unfortunately / fortunately was blessed with some, but yeah, just let it go. That's what I've been telling the guys. Everyone gets to November. I told everyone, I'm like, get your last shave in. You're not shaving for the month, so.
You guys obviously have fun with it, as well as it being a serious topic of conversation throughout the month. But do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy having a mustache, or is this one of those things that you just make it the best that you can for the month?
I'm going to say yes and no. I like it because it's funny, and I think it looks different. But I'll tell you what, my girlfriend doesn't like it, and my mom and my dad gives me crap all the time. My mom does not like it. But yeah, I'm more the I have facial hair all year round, but I'm more the goatee guy, or I don't know. My facial hair has grown back way too fast now. So as some weeks I don't even know what's going on. But yeah, I'm not a huge mustache guy, but I'm going to say I am for now and for this month, and I'm going to keep doing it every year. So
yeah, those are 5th-year smarts. If the girlfriend doesn't like it, just do it for this month, and then it's got to go.
Just get through it.
Do you have different facial hair for different times of the year, different seasons?
Ooh, it's a pretty good question, but no, I think I'd always am kind of rocking the goatee. It's just a matter of what length. I don't think in the summer it might be a little shorter, but I think I kind of stick with the same. I've been sticking with the same thing for a while.
Are you one of those guys with playoff facial hair? Do you just let it go, or some guys like to style?
Well, I'm trying to think the last time. Well, I think I just let it go. I mean, there's some times where it gets down in the neck area and it starts to get itchy, and that can cause some problems. But no, like I said, I just let it go and see what happens. I took some notes from Hunter Shepard. My God, that guy he just lets everything go. I saw him last year when he won the Calder Cup, and he just looked like he looked like Bigfoot. It's crazy.
Long hair, the beard. Yeah. He kind of lives the Bigfoot lifestyle, I think, in the off season
definitely
as well, out there in the
him.
Woods. Who in the locker room has the mustache going right now besides you?
Quinny has a pretty good one, actually.
And he's come a long way
he
since
has
his
come a long
freshman
way.
year.
I've been proud of him. He's come a long way. Yeah.
He
did not have much when he came in, but yeah, he's grown up.
I complimented him at the podium the other night because I was like, I don't remember you being one of the guys that could grow a mustache. And I went back and looked at like his mug shots on the team website, like from his freshman year, and there was no way that kid had facial hair.
No, he was a young buck.
Is it cheating though to be a 5th-year guy and be competing against some of the younger freshmen and sophomores?
You could say that, but I don't say that.
The experience matters, right?
Yeah. We're all on the same team, so we'll say it's 11 level field. But
which of this year's young guys will be like Quinn? Maybe they don't have much going on now, but you think by the time they're a 4th-year senior that they'll be in the running for the best in the team?
Ooh, I don't know. Maybe Fisher, I'd say. Fisher doesn't have a ton going on, but I can see him growing up quick and getting some facial hair. I don't know if Aaron will. I think Aaron will be.
His brother was only here 2 years, but even in the NHL, Neil's not a facial hair guy.
No, he's not. He can't really get anything going either, so probably stay away from Aaron, but I'll probably say Fisher. Yeah.
Now I seem to remember Joey Pierce when he was like a junior in high school had like a full beard.
Yeah, Joey's
at
good
Hermantown.
Too.
Joey is blessed with the genes of growing facial hair. Like I feel like he's kind of holding back a little bit now that he's in college.
Yeah.
You go from like in high school where you want to look older, and then now he's starting to cross that point, I think, where he's like, oh, I don't want to look that old.
And then it gets to be a pain, and then you're like, well.
Yeah, right, yeah. Who is the most convincing person in the locker room? The guy that can get anyone to do anything. Oof. The person that could get Scott Sandelin to grow a Movember mustache. He's never taken part. Nope. And I don't know if I've ever seen any photos with him with facial hair either.
Yeah, I don't think he won't do it.
I've seen some stubble, like he hasn't shaved in 3 or 4 days, but that's about it for him.
I don't know who could. I mean, maybe me, outside of me, maybe Dom, just because.
Dom?
Yeah, maybe, or I don't know. I feel like Steve-O could go in there and have a million reasons why. I know that. Ben would go in there and have a list printed out, laminated, as to what the pros and cons of growing a mustache. So he could do that, but
maybe just pure wear down.
Nothing
wear down
just
the
get
coach.
out of my office. Fine, I'll do it.
I think it would.
If I grow a mustache, will you leave my office?
Yeah. I think it would end with some sort of get out.
Yeah, Steve's leaves the office and he's no longer on the power play. So maybe we don't want that to happen. But of the coaches, though, is Chupper the clear winner if the three of them were to have a mustache growing competition?
Yeah, I'd say so. Maybe throw Brant in there too.
Yeah,
that's true. He's on the He qualifies now as a full-time staff member.
I was going to say now he qualifies, so I guess you could throw him in there. He'd have a good one.
Adam and Scott are bringing up the rear though, right?
Yeah. Krause definitely. He would try, but he wouldn't get much, I don't think.
All right, some quick hits to close this off here. This one's a little relevant. Your freshman year, 2019-20, I was looking this back as I was researching this weekend series at Herb Brooks National Hockey Center against St. Cloud State. You guys played 7 games on the wide Olympic sheets that year. Wisconsin, Minnesota, St. Cloud State, and Colorado College. You didn't even go to like Mankato that year. St. Cloud State, where you travel this week, it's one of the last of the 100-foot wide rinks. I think it's the only place you'll play on an Olympic sheet all season long. Some hybrids are still out there in college hockey. Are you a fan of the big sheet, or are you happy to see them gone?
I do like them, actually. I think I remember playing there just growing up too. Like, I think it just gives you more space. I think if I were a D, I wouldn't like it because, and the D hate it just because there's more room for the forwards to go around and more room for them to cover. So I think that's tough. But as a forward, I like it. I don't mind it. I think it gives us more area to be creative and more area to build up speed. But yeah, I've kind of always liked it. I've never hated it, but it is, yeah. I think the D are happy to see it starting to fade away for sure.
And you're sad to see them go then, huh?
Yeah, I'd say a little bit, but I don't mind the tighter ice either. So
yeah, I went to Northern Michigan University and covered their team for a while, and I liked the big sheets. They only shrunk theirs slightly, like by 6 feet. It's one of the hybrids now at 94. Mariucci, they've gone,
yeah,
I think 87 or something.
It was weird playing there without the Olympic.
Was that? I was going to ask. Was it weird playing there the first time without Lake Mariucci, as they used to call it?
Yeah, it was weird actually, because like I said, I'd grown up playing there and did some camps there, and then my section final game, I remember playing there, and but yeah, it was definitely different for sure.
So you noticed it right away when you stepped down there.
Yeah, and they got those cushioned seats on the side now. I don't know about that either.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on the
it's a Minnesota thing though.
The fancy, nice recliner, rinkside recliners, and I'm conflicted. It looks fun and comfy. Matt in his late 30s, pushing 40s is like, yeah, that's not a bad way to sit back and watch a hockey game live in person. But then I remember growing up as a kid, like, the glass seats were the best. Yeah. It's so cool to go to a hockey game. I'd go to the Green Bay Gamblers at the old Brown County Arena, and you just spend 60 minutes banging on that glass. Yeah. How it didn't fall down at the old Brown County Arena, who knows?
Well, rumor has it those seats aren't comfy, so the new recliners. So.
They're not comfy?
Yeah, rumor has it, but okay. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Favorite NCHC rink to play in?
Ralph.
The Ralph? Okay. If you had to do the pod again, but let's say there's no pandemic restrictions this time, where in the NCHC would you want it to be?
Well, Denver would be good. I actually did love Omaha.
You liked
Omaha?
I'm not gonna lie,
yeah. And without the restrictions, I think it would be fun. Yeah. I'll say Omaha.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun to do not 3 weeks.
3 weeks was long.
3 weeks is long. Maybe we do like a week, get everyone together to play some games.
They did a really good job with that, I will say. Still to this day, like, how they organized all that was crazy in a matter of, it was in a couple months, but it was fun. We talk about it still, but the last 5 days were tough.
Are you weighing the city equally with the rink in that equation, or is it 50-50, or is the city more important than the rink that you're playing in?
I think the city for sure, because I think all the rinks are good. Yeah, the facilities are really nice though too, which I will give them credit for that too. But yeah, the area was nice because the hotel was, a couple blocks from the rink, and then on the way there's like a smoothie place, a salad place, a sandwich place. So it was just a fun walk. And I think with it more open, I think we could go different places. But it was just a nice area around there.
So your favorite rink is the Ralph, but you don't want to spend 3 weeks in Grand Forks.
No, absolutely not.
Fair.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely not.
Sorry, Grand Forks. I'm not spending 3 weeks there.
Yeah,
either.
we had Cole on we had Luke Bast on last week. There's only so much red pepper you can eat. 3 weeks of the red pepper would be.
And I haven't even been there, but
Are you going to go this year as a 5th year?
I might have to. Sandy's told me that I need to go. So
Sandy's told you?
Yeah.
So I think I need to. Cole Spicer's a red pepper guy too.
He is a red pepper guy. Yeah, maybe I'll go with him for sure.
Which teammate, past or present, would make a good NCHC referee someday?
Referee. Definitely not Nick Wolf. I'll tell you that. Definitely not.
No one
Wolfie.
enjoyed talking to the refs more as captain than
Yeah.
Nick Wolf.
I don't know if
I
it
think
was-
that was his favorite part of being captain, was getting in on all those conversations.
I think we've said this before, though. If there's one guy that should have to be a referee for at least one game, it's Nick Wolf, though, right? He should have to throw the stripes on
Yeah.
and see how the other half lives,
Yeah,
right?
because there'd be no calls. It would just be a free-for-all. Yeah, so maybe I'd say Wolfie because I like his style. So
Who's the
yeah.
rules guy, though? Who would be good at it on
rules-
this year's team?
Maybe Steve-O again, just because he's so like he'd read the handbook and just go by the book. He'd just he'd get told what to do and have a certain way of doing it, and he'd just be pinpoint on the nose with it. And he'd get in arguments. He wouldn't waver from it. So maybe that's
He'd be in the review booth looking at the video, and Ron Foyt would be telling him one thing, and he'd be correcting Ron Foyt
He'd
on
be like, nope, not on
Nope.
page 97 of the yeah. That'd be Ben.
which teammate, past or present, most likely to be a coach in the NCAA someday.
Noah Cates, maybe.
Noah Cates.
Yeah. Just his mind, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think his mind for the game's really good, and he's a personable guy. I think he gets along with everyone. Yeah, his mind is just the way he thinks the game, too, is just superior. And obviously he was captain here for 2 years.
Yeah.
Such a good motivator, most inspirational for 3 years. So that speaks, too.
So we had to retire this question for a while. It's the Adam Krause Memorial question because his name just kept coming up. I feel like it's been long enough now. Maybe it won't. Teammate, past or present, that's most likely to run for political office. I think we said Krause, mayor of Hermantown someday.
Well, yeah, but he hasn't been a teammate now, so he's ineligible.
He is
for
ineligible,
this year's
yeah.
group, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, gosh. I wouldn't want to be living in that town if Krause was the mayor. Political office, past or present? I guess
Yeah.
that's hard. Maybe Thiessen, just solely off of his ability to just because I remember I had classes with him where he'd had to get up and speak, or he'd have to speak in front of people, and he could just talk and just BS his way through anything. So not saying that politicians are BSing their way through everything, but I'd maybe say Tease. He's a relatively good talker. His English is a little broken, but yeah, maybe Tease.
Thiessen's good. Leads us into this. We'll do this for the last question here. We've had the goalies. We heard goalies influence who gets to pick in the shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Scott Sandlin credited Thiessen actually for maybe this is where the political thing comes in. Thiessen's given the advice there. The goalies have been giving us who the top shooters are. I think we need to reverse it on the goalies now. Which goalie are you pick is the best one in the shootout? And you guys go up against them every
probably.
week.
I think Stezzy's good. He just because he covers so much area.
so big.
Yeah, he's just so big. Tease, I don't know. I don't want to pump Tease's tires, but I'd say Tease because he competes. He competes all over. I think he's good laterally, but yeah, I'm not gonna pump his tires too much. I'll say Tease.
He's had them pumped a lot lately with those diving saves.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he makes.
Yeah, he's been playing out of his mind lately. So yeah, I'll go with him. Stay hot.
Though history tells me in the goalie room, they go back and critique him, bring him maybe back down to earth. If you were in the right position, you wouldn't have had to make that dive.
I know Patter would be doing that for sure. I know he would always critique Fance. And Fance made that save against Western in the frozen face-off, and Patter's like, well, you should have been here.
Casimir Kaskasuo made a behind-the-back glove save however many years ago, and we asked him about it. He goes, it's the worst save I made all game.
Yeah.
I just completely screwed up and got lucky.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember Fance always saying that, and they're definitely not wrong. So.
All right, Luke. Thanks for finally joining us on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We should, before you go, plug it. Where can people donate and learn more about the UMD Mobros campaign?
There's going to be a link posted on the UMD hockey page, and then we're going to try and plug it this week, but there should be a link that links to our page, and just click donate, and you can click your favorite mustache if you see one and donate to someone's page, because it all goes back to our Mobros page, so you'll find it somewhere.
What's the goal? Have you guys set a goal?
I think $5,000.
$5,000 you're looking to raise this year?
So we got to get going here. Yeah.
All right. Still a lot of November left. Yeah. So go check that page out. Maybe we'll try and get the link in the show notes here as well, and on the Bulldog Insider page on DuluthNewsTribune.com as well to help you guys get going there. So again, Luke, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all the time we have this week on the Bulldog Insider Podcast, which you can find on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and rate us. For more Bulldogs hockey coverage, visit DuluthNewsTribune.com/Bulldog Insider. Subscribe to gain access to all of our coverage all season long. Zach, what's the TV coverage look like this week?
We got 3 games. I'm not doing any of them, so I get the weekend off. I just get to sit back and relax and watch some games. But both the men's games on the road to St. Cloud will be on. It's a 7:30 start Friday, 6 o'clock Saturday, and then we get the women's game on Saturday afternoon, their finale against Minnesota at 3. So a triple header on My 9 Sports, and I'll enjoy it with everybody else.
Thanks to our sponsor, Essentia Health, for their continued support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast, and thanks to all of you for listening. We'll catch you next week.